Show presents
Songs of the Same Name.
Songs of the Same Name.
Today we're taking a look at songs of the same name by different artists.
What are they all about?
Which version
is superior? Songs of the Same Name.
Songs of the Same Name.
Hey everyone, welcome to Songs of the Same Name presented by the Dude and Grim Show on the Scratch a Track podcast. I am the Dude and he is Grim, and we are about to blow your minds with a song or songs called One. Because there's a few of them, Grim. There's more than one.
You know, there is more than one. And first of all, we were only going to talk about two of them. And those two would be Metallica's One and U2's One. But then it occurred to us that there is also a very popular and well-known song called One, which was written by Harry Nilsson but performed by Three Dog Night. And you might know this. The lyrics is "One is the loneliest number you'll ever do." So yeah, that song was actually released in 1968, and again, written by Harry Nilsson, who's, I would argue, one of the unsung heroes of the music world. Did write a lot of famous songs that were done by other people, and it was pivotal. The song was pretty pivotal, really, for all three groups. And
I'd say so.
I guess I will just say why it was pivotal for Three Dog Night, because it was earlier in their career, and I guess it was the first of 5 continuous gold records that they would release.
It's a pretty nice, solid run there.
Yep. And then I guess from a chronological perspective, Metallica would be next.
Yes, Metallica would be next. And this is giving people maybe a little foreshadowing, a precursor. We do want to talk about this song, but it will be talked in more depth maybe in the coming week. So keep your ears out for that. No
in the
spoiler
Scratch
alerts,
a Track podcast presented by the Scratch a Track podcast.
By the Dude and Grim show. But yes, so Metallica came out with One, and it's off their album. It was actually the third single off Injustice for All. And I forget, Grim, you just looked this up. What were the first 2 singles off that album?
Harvester of Sorrow and Eye of the Beholder.
Okay. So this was the third one off that album. The album was released in, September 7th, 1988. The single was released about 4 months later in January of 89. And that was actually their first step into the MTV music video world. So definitely kind of newer territory for them. But
and boy, did they make a mark.
Yeah, because this video is pretty intense. It's
and again, we may or may not go into it in more detail, so stay tuned for that. But let's just say it is worth watching, and it's certainly, if you didn't know about Metallica prior to seeing that video, which would be weird, but you would have then, because you would not forget that video. And the song, really, I can't think of any metal quite like that had been on Metallica, except for maybe the show Headbangers Ball, if anyone remembers that. Maybe there was some
who doesn't?
Heavy stuff on that, but mainstream MTV, I feel like this was one of the heavier songs in the rotation at that time.
Yeah, and with this song, I kind of find it interesting that this was actually the third single off that album, because listening to that album, to me, it's probably the most radio friendly, I think. Even though it's a little, it starts off with the guns.
It's heavy lyrically, but
I feel like it carries melody very well.
Yeah,
and I think that's
true.
what for my ears. That's where I'm like, okay, I can hear this song on the radio, and that's why. I guess there's parts of Harvester of Sorrow where I could see that as well, but
for Eye of the Beholder, oof, I love that one. But One is the riff that everybody, all the guitar players, they definitely learn that intro to One, and it's just one of those things.
Yeah, and it's great, man. I dig it. It's before I really even got into the album and Justice for All. This is like the song that I had downloaded just from that album. You know, it was like, oh, okay, I should, I know these Metallica songs. Oh, I've heard one. I hear that's a good song. Boom, I'm gonna pull that down. So it's the one song off the album that I definitely had.
Well played.
Thank you. The other one, if we want to move into U2 a little bit, is their version of One, and I think you alluded to it or said it that this song One was pivotal for all three of the bands. Mm-hmm. And for U2, it came out in about 91, and they were in the studio recording a follow-up to, I forget which album, but this they were recording for Octoon Baby, which ended up being an enormous,
hugely successful,
huge album for the band. Is that I'm trying to think. I think Mysterious Ways is on that album.
Yep.
What other song? I think The Fly was the first actually song off the album, even better than The Real Thing. So it's kind of a big one. It's definitely a big album for them. But when they got into the studio, they were kind of within the band. They were having a little turmoil because The Edge, their guitar player, if you don't know, his name is The Edge, which is cool,
and that is on his birth certificate, by the way.
Probably his driver's license too. Yeah. And passport.
First name The, last name Edge.
Name
no
Edge.
middle initial NA.
Yeah. So anyways, they get into the studio in Bono and The Edge. They kind of wanted to take the band into a little more industrial and kind of electronic dance direction, and the other two members kind of liked what they were doing and I think wanted to stay there. So they had some creative differences, and it got to the point where I think they were, I don't know how close they were to splitting up, but definitely saying, hey, I don't know if this is working. And then I guess The Edge came up with the kind of the guitar part for the song One, and that got everybody kind of on the same page and really started the recording sessions off. Yeah, it brought them together because we're one, but we're not the same, and I think they realized that.
Well, yeah, and in the song, it's funny you say that because that's one of those lyrics that really sticks out. Like, are you busy playing Jesus to the lepers in your head? Also a great lyric, but that lyric, I think. If you watch the video, and we'll get to that too, but the video that was released, let me just say the video that was released, it's kind of like Bono in a restaurant, and he's sitting at this table with a beer and a smoke, and it's almost like he's reminiscing about this relationship that went sour. But that lyric is strangely applicable to the whole business of the band coming close to breaking up, if you ask me too, because that the idea that we're one and we're not the same, but we have to carry each other. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's one of the motivations or the inspirations behind Bono's lyrics for this is he wrote the lyrics that kind of reflected the band's kind of fractured relationship like during that time. So it was very representative of that. There's also some other things and other themes that kind of come through, and we'll talk about the videos a little bit, but they Bono actually I found this to be really funny. Bono actually sent a note to the Dalai Lama declining an invitation to a festival called Oneness. So I don't know if the Dalai Lama was refusing to go to the festival or the Dalai Lama invited Bono and the band and he was like, no, we can't go. But in the letter or in the note that he wrote, he said one, but not the same. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I mean, wow. It's also cool that you just have direct access to the Dalai Lama. I mean,
yeah, I kind of feel like if he invites you somewhere, like you fucking go, dude.
Go.
It's the I mean,
so maybe
if the Dalai Lama even knows who you are. I mean, that's already pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing. So this song was actually released to benefit in AIDS research, and so all the proceeds and everything went to AIDS research, and that's kind of where the music video part comes in a little bit. So they actually recorded 3 music videos for this song, which that's got to be some sort of a record. I mean, I don't know how many bands, record multiple music videos. Usually, I mean, I guess if you're U2 and at this stage in your career, they were probably doing okay financially, so it wasn't a huge burden.
I mean, most people just record one version.
One. Man, we could go all day. But so here's the thing. So Anton Corbijn, he directed the first video. And I have I feel like, so for people who don't know, and let me hold this up, I have the director's series of all these music videos and stuff. Michelle, I don't have Mark Romanix here with me, but basically in the 90s, everybody, it seems like, did their videos with Anton Corbijn, Michel Gondry, Stéphane Sednouy, Spike Jonze, or what's
Mark
his name?
Romanek.
I just said Mark Romanek. So like if you look at this, like the track listing, so Corbijn, he also did Nirvana's Heart-Shaped Box, which is pretty good. He did a bunch of Depeche Mode stuff, including Behind the Wheel, which may or may not may not be coming up on the Scratch a Track podcast,
presented by the Dude and Groom Show.
Presented by the Dude and Groom Show, but he did Harry Rollins, a bunch of Depeche Mode, like I said. He's really just done a lot of stuff, but he did the first video for One. And so here's the deal with that. Go ahead.
Which Henry Rollins video did he do? Was it Liar? Liar? Yeah. That's okay. Yeah. Anyways, go on.
All right. He also did Metallica's Mama Said and Hero of the Day. So, those are off later albums, but so with this video, he had the band in parts of it dress up in drag, and I've seen the video. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's on this DVD, and it's called the Director's Cut.
I mean, maybe we watched it in college, but I don't recall it.
I don't know if it's on. I didn't look to see if it was on YouTube, but I actually think the video is very tastefully done. I know, it's the band dressed up in drag, but it's actually them just kind of sitting in this old house, and Bono's on the couch, and then different band members are just kind of sitting there and dressed up in drag, and then it shows them kind of walking out of a house and getting into a car, and at times driving away. So it's not like risque, or I don't think anything would be offensive, but the reason that they decided not to put that version out is because the song was to benefit AIDS, and they thought there might be some backlash, or that people would make some sort of connection that people in drag or gay people, that there's some sort of connotation between that and in AIDS at the time, where it is a virus that affects everyone. So I think they just said, hey, you know what, we're just not even going to go there, and so they kind of just shelved the video. But I think the video is really good, and you described the video that was released, and I believe I have seen that one as well. And the story behind that is basically they all went to some club, and it's Bono sitting at the table, just like drinking and smoking and stuff, and the other members were just like partying with other friends and people in another area of the club while the video is being shot. And then all of a sudden, after a couple hours, they hadn't gotten the other members, and the other members were like, well, it's fine. We'll just have Bono in it. Like, we don't really need, what are we going to do? So,
yeah, but I mean, I can keep drinking.
Definitely. So that's kind of the story behind all the videos. And I forget, there was a video in the middle too that I don't really remember why they decided not to go with that one. But yeah, while they were in the studio recording this song, they went in, they recorded, there was a turmoil. And then Brian Eno, who's like their producer, I guess he wasn't there for the sessions. He kind of came in afterwards and listened to it. And I guess he liked everything that they'd done for the Achtung Babies sessions, except one. He was like, yeah, I don't know. And so they started doing overdubbing and putting in extra parts. And
he put in keyboards, didn't he?
He may have. I don't know.
I believe that he put in some additional keyboards.
Okay. And so they got, then I think they took a break from the song, and then they went back, and then Eno listened to it with the band, and they weren't happy. And he just made some suggestions, and he said, remove kind of some of the melancholy elements. And he also said, remove the acoustic guitar. So in the song, I hear acoustic guitar. So I'm not sure if there was another part or maybe they turned it down or something. I don't really know that. So I'm not sure.
I think completely removing it would have been a mistake. I mean, that carries the song.
Mm-hmm. And so they removed, I think, some overdubs because I think they felt like, or he suggested to them that they had done so much work on it and so many overdubs that they kind of lost what the song originally was. And so they just changed some things up. And I guess right at the end, before they were doing like the final mix, the Edge was like, oh, I got this part I want to put in. And he puts in some guitar part right at the end of the lyrics of Love is a Temple. And so he just put it in like right at the end. He did it in one take, and the song was mixed like 10 minutes later, and that's it.
Oh, nice.
So it's just like definitely a last minute addition.
Pretty much wraps that up, though. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and also I will say in the Corbin video, Bono's father has a cameo.
Oh, that's interesting.
He's not doing much. He's just kind of standing there. And this is the interesting thing. We were talking about fractured relationships. Well, him and his father did not have a great relationship, apparently. And so that's why it actually meant a lot for Bono for his father to be in the video with him, because the song is, as you can hear, about fractured relationships. Yeah. And Bono had a friend at the time who I believe worked on the cover art for Achtung Baby. I could be wrong on that. Who I believe was gay and dying of AIDS, or eventually died of AIDS. And the song was sort of written maybe about him and having that kind of conversation with his father about him opening up about his lifestyle and what he had, just coming out basically to his father. And he's saying, look, we're one, but we're not the same. So there's a lot of ways that can be taken and interpreted. And I apologize if I've gotten the HIV part wrong with or the AIDS part wrong with them, but I do believe it was about one of his friends coming out to his father or his parents. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
and we've also one thing we talked about is one thing. Johnny Cash also did a cover of this.
Yep, during the American Recording Series.
That's right.
Which you may have heard us reference in the cover for Hurt. It was in that same series of recordings with none other than Rick Rubin. And pretty apparently, legend has it. Now, I can't confirm this, but legend has it that he also did a cover during those sessions of Metallica's One. But it just, there were complications and it just never was released. So that's one of those ones, man. You can just hope for some leaked tape someday.
Yes. We need that demo.
So I think with that, that's there are a couple other versions of One by Mary J. Blige and Mika Paris. Not going to have a chance to go into those.
Nope.
But
so Graham, what do you prefer?
Oh,
I don't want to, and that's the thing we're doing here with songs of the same name.
Bitch.
We're not scratching them off. We're not saying, hey, I'm not going to list it, but it's like, which one do you prefer?
Yeah, if you're going to put on, and it's really tough now that we throw Three Dog Night in the mix.
I know, man.
I mean, it was hard enough with those two, but then when you put that little pinky in the stinky, like, I don't know what to do
Jesus
there.
Christ.
You know? So
it's a real pickle shit, isn't it?
Dude.
Shit pickle.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously love Metallica's One. But it's lyrically, it's not, I like the heaviness of the music, but it's lyrically, it's really heavy. I mean, it's basically about a guy who gets his arms and legs blown off by a landmine in the war and is tapping with his head in a spoon Morse code for the doctors to kill him, which there will be a lot more on that version of One in an upcoming podcast. So we kind of just hedged our bets here. So that's a little heavy for me. But I do like the song, and I really do like U2's U2's version of One as well. But honestly, if you were going to put one on, I think I'd probably take Three Dog Night doing Harry Nilsson's One. I love the way the words interplay. You know, they go from 1 to 2 to, you know, they kind of use the numbers and pivot off them and do a lot of different things. And it just, even though it is also sort of dark in its own right, maybe because it's talking about like this idea of being alone, loneliness.
Yeah.
It still is more upbeat. And I guess the one, if you were to put all three in front of me right now, that's what I'd pick.
Okay.
Dude.
So I feel like this is a hybrid episode. It's like the Songs of the Same Name covers Face Off, because the one I actually listen to the most is Johnny Cash's version of U2's One.
Version.
It is, dude. That's what it is. So it's like, dude, we're getting deep cuts,
so
man.
it's Songs of the Same Name, Face Off a track.
Yes, exactly. So, but if we're choosing between those three, the one I listen to the most is U2's One. But between U2's One and Johnny Cash's, it's Johnny Cash's.
Yes, I love it.
We have,
so
there
it's
we go.
Kind of U2's version.
Kind of.
It's like it's our bike, but we'll just leave it in my house.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. Thanks, Debo. All right.
So with that,
all right,
I guess that's my bike, Punk, and we'll sign off.
We'll scratch you later, guys.
Yeah.
Laces out.
Songs of the Same Name
Is produced by the Dude and Grim. Additional music provided by More. That's .more in the Tims, TIMNZ. Copyright 2020.